everyone, it's Jojo. Just wanted to talk a little bit about Mercury in retrograde and Jupiter in Sagittarius, because I have a lot of friends who maybe aren't so interested in astrology, or they're interested, they just kind of want it in a nutshell. So I want to make this video dedicated to them because they are also, a few of them are Sagittariuses. I have a lot of Sagittariuses in my life. So the transit of Jupiter in Sagittarius, first of all, this happens only about every 12 years. So if you think back to your life 12 years ago, transits come around, you know, every so often, and just want to kind of look at it, what was going on in your life then. Maybe was there an expansion of your love, your home? Jupiter represents that in our, you know, the energy of the planet is represented in mythology and in astrology as the big guy, the big boy, who brings only love and expansion, and higher knowledge too. It's actually in its ruling sign, the zodiac sign. Every zodiac sign has a ruling planet, and it's in the ruling sign of Sagittarius. So it came home is what we call it, Jupiter coming home. And again, 12 years ago, this was the transit that was going on. So for me, 12 years ago, it was 2006. I had the biggest expansion in my career, in my work, in my business, enterprises and all of that. And even on the horizon was an expansion for my moving. What also happened around that time, actually, was I was introduced to Tony Robbins. And it was just by chance. I had read his book 3 years before that, back in 2003 when I first started my company. And I think it was one of the first books he ever wrote. And that book really helped to open my mind to everything is truly mind over matter. And so when I was at a convention, we were doing a lot of trade shows for my business as interior designer, so I was always in and out of convention halls and stuff, and I noticed that downstairs there was a sign, and he was doing a leadership course for one day, and I joined it. I was like so thrilled to actually see him in person. The catalyst for my business was there in person. And he was only speaking for a few hours, but amongst them were speakers for, Kenneth Cole was there, first of all. Kenneth Cole had a great story talking about how he had jump-started his business from the back of trucks, doing trunk shows in New York City. And that was pretty interesting story, you know, especially as an entrepreneur. And James Garrison was there too. And if you don't know him, there was a movie that Will Smith did where he acted his part, called The Pursuit of Happiness. So he was a stockbroker. And he had this amazing story where he went from homelessness to being a very affluent person in the stock market industry as an investor, as a broker, starting his own company. And to hear all these stories were so inspiring. But what it did was it made me realize how much more I wanted to get to know myself as a person in my own personal development. So I started expanding all of that. You know, look at this ocean right now. Look at the expansion of this ocean, how it's just gone back. You know, this tide is really low right now. And everything I see in nature is kind of a metaphor for the world. So what I'm seeing right now is the tide is really low, and we can see all the rocks out in the horizon. Rocks that you would never ever seen before. If you lived out here, you know. And, you know, my dog is playing with me. Destiny, say hi! She's always on film. But, you know, it's an interesting time right now because we can see where we want to go. I know that if I want to walk out to that rock right now, I can easily see a path. You know, as where before I may have thought, oh, how deep is the water? I may have to swim. Might need to get a paddle board out there. Now I can see how easily it is. But what's happening at this time is Mercury's in retrograde. And I don't think that's a coincidence that Mercury went directly into a retrograde as Venus went direct, which is still in shadow though. But when Mercury goes into retrograde, which is every 3 to 4 months because of the elliptical plane, it moves a lot faster than the Earth. So it looks like it's going in a reverse motion to us. What does it do? It makes us stop. And when you're in business for yourself, and maybe you can use this in your own personal life if you don't have your own business, reflect on what's happened in the last quarter. And that's what we do. When business, you take measurements. You go, you say, well, this is what we planned to do, and now we're taking a measure. How has it worked out? And that's what this retrograde is doing. It's like you can see the horizon, Jupiter and Sagittarius, big expansion. And it's saying how much more can you expand your mind, not just, where you live, your home, money. Because money is just a secondary thing to everything that you put here. So friends have worried about me recently. How are you going to make money, Joanna? This and that. Because I quit a job where I wasn't happy. It was providing that income. But what it was doing was closing my mind. And I think that was the scariest thing for me, more than me getting and being in a financial struggle. So I said to myself, it doesn't matter what happens, I will always be provided for. And I've done a voice memo on that to talk about that and tell you a little bit more about that story. But right now I want to give you this advice. It's not just about me. Look and see where the horizon is. Look and see where the light is. Look and see how you can expand your mind right now. It's happening at a very precious time when I think more and more people really need it to happen. And there will be no fear at the end of it because you can see where you have to go. And you just keep that focus in mind. Right now, maybe it's not the time to go because I may hurt myself. I have to reflect on what are the actual steps to get there. Not going to push anything right now. Mercury's in retrograde. That's what it does. Reflect back, rethink things. What hasn't worked for you? What will work for you in the future? You don't know. You don't know what will work. It's a constant reflection, measurement. Keep going. You working on yourself is just as important as you working on your home, on your business, your relationships. It all starts with you first, and again, that's why I dedicated myself to helping people, because I wasn't doing that. I was being deflated. I was closing my mind. I wasn't seeing the world like I used to, like total, complete abundance everywhere. And the purpose that I need to do to fill my soul, my ikiji, or ikigai. That's the Japanese word for life's worth. And I posted a sort of a picture, a diagram of what it means. But what it means is basically do what you are good at, do what gives you pleasure, and that which you can get paid for, or be of help, if money isn't a factor for you and you just want to help the world at this point. That's awesome too, Not enough people are doing this, and that's why I see so much misery going on in the world. It's like letting go of that trust, the trust in the closing of the mind and staying in the program. You have to do this way, you have to do it that way, this is how everybody else has succeeded. But when you see and you hear these inspiring stories from Kenneth Cole to Garrison to Tony Robbins, nobody had it easy. Nobody was in the program. If they stayed in the program, you would have never known these people. If they believed what they were shown in the world, if he believed his hardships, and he didn't push his way through out of the situation that he was in with such a young child, talking about James here, you would never have heard his story. It would have never been an award-winning movie. It's inspiring, and you can inspire people when they see how you've changed your life, how you've gotten out of the program. And sometimes we need guidance. And that's what all these people, these mentors were for me. I spent thousands of dollars working with them, but I knew that money didn't matter. It wasn't about me spending the money. It was about me getting a peace of mind. And those are my 2 cents for today. So Mercury in retrograde, as Jupiter is now in Sagittarius, it's going to jump over. Mercury is going to jump over the sun, jump over Jupiter, and go back into Scorpio, getting deep again. And then going forward. by the end of the year. And so, you know, I think it's a great time to enjoy your family, enjoy your life. Don't see things as black and white. There's way more you can do every day. You make a change. You take that little step, that measure out there, you know. And I'm here to help you with coaching, with inspiration, whatever you need. I'll be putting out a lot of content when it comes to helping men with dating, when it comes to helping people change their lives, get more happiness. Not necessarily equating to making money. It doesn't always come down to money equals happiness, you know. It's just another piece of the pie, that's all. But getting your mindset to doing what you love and finding what it is you love. That's the most important thing, I think, in this lifetime. And that's where Jupiter is right now. Expand your mind. So that's it. All right, enjoy the view. La la da da. Lots of little steps to take out there. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.